begin our safari adventures with a nice twin day.
Please like and subscribe if you like this video.
Well, Jumbo friends, welcome aboard the Kilmanjaro Safaris. My name is Allie. I'll be your safari guide on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. For everybody's safety throughout the entire duration of our safari, we do need to remain fully and completely seated, keeping our hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle at all times. We are going to begin our safari in the Little Ituri Forest. Usually the very first animal that welcomes us into the reserve is the okapi. And we'll be looking for that okapi on the right-hand side of the truck today. It is a very unique looking animal. The okapi is dark brown and completely solid on its top half, with a striping pattern on its bottom half that kind of resembles the stripes that you would expect to see on a zebra's coat. And there is one over there on the right, kind of hidden back behind that bamboo over there. That okapi is not actually related to the zebra. Its closest relative is going to be the giraffe. Now we also have a saddle-billed stork kind of crossing right in front of our truck here. The saddle-billed stork is a black and white bird. It's a large, majestic species. It's going to stand about 3 to 5 feet tall and grow wingspans of about 9 feet wide. And to give you a reference of 9 feet, if you look at the canopy right above our heads here, that is about 9 feet. So that's the impressive wingspan of that bird there. We may or may not see a black rhino out here today. There is one all the way in the back. We're going to see if we might get a better view a little further ahead here. The black rhino is the smallest of the rhino species. They weigh between 1,000 and 3,000 pounds, which does sound like a lot to us, but that's pretty small for a rhino species. On the right-hand side, you'll see those orange-colored antelopes. Those are called bongo. Bongo have those beautiful orange-colored coats. They're also going to have that white striping pattern that helps them to blend in and camouflage with the trees of this ecosystem. You might have also noticed they have those horns on top of their heads. Those horns allow them to cut a quick and clear path through the underbrush of this ecosystem. On the left-hand side, if you look kind of behind you up on top of the hill, you'll see the greater kudu up there, another antelope. Just like that bongo, they also are going to have that white striping pattern, which helps them once again to camouflage among the trees. We're going to make our way onward now to the Safi River, which is home to our pink-backed pelicans and some of our other aquatic animals. I do see a lot of pink-backed pelicans hanging out on the right-hand side here. Now they do have a grayish-white appearance on their feathers, but they'll develop a bright pink spot on their back during that mating season, which is what they're named after. You might also notice they have those big bills right at the front of their face there. Those big bills allow them to easily scoop up fish out of this ecosystem. They can actually swallow fish completely whole. Over on the left-hand side, there is a hippo making its way upriver. Hippo weigh about 4,000 pounds. So to conserve that energy, they usually will just gently walk along the bottom side of the river. Just look at a really good view here on the left. Hippo live in pretty territorial groups known as a bloat of hippo. They are able to hold their breath for between 5 and 8 minutes at a time. Now another large aquatic animal over here on the left is the Nile crocodile. That Nile crocodile is the top predator animal of the river, meaning they don't have any natural predators above them. The Nile crocodile has a pretty slow digestive system, so they are only need to eat about once a week. a very large meal though, about half of their body weight for one meal. So on average, that is going to be about a 250-pound meal for that Nile crocodile. We're continuing onward toward the Savannah, which is where we'll spend the majority of our safari today. The Savannah is the largest area of land dedicated out here on the reserve. It is home to our largest animal species. So this is where we're going to be looking for animals like those giraffe, those elephants, and those white rhino. Now the Savannah is a pretty unique ecosystem. It is going to form in places where there's not enough rainfall throughout the year to support a rainforest. But it's also not dry enough consistently throughout the year to support a desert. Now right away we'll have a really lovely view of some Maasai giraffe over on the right. The giraffe is the tallest land mammal in the world. They reach heights of up to 20 feet tall. They are going to eat about 18 hours a day to sustain their body weight. Their long tongues assist them with that activity. My friends in the back, make sure we're fully seated back there for little ones, either on a seat or a lap. We're pretty close to these giraffes, so we have a great view of their spots, which have kind of an irregular shape around the outside. That's one of the identifying traits of a Maasai giraffe specifically. Over on the left-hand side, we may or may not see some African wild dog. It looks like they're kind of hanging out in the shady areas over there. The African wild dog is the most successful hunting animal on this ecosystem. They're really social, so they do excel at coordination for that high success rate. Over on the left-hand side, they are kind of hiding back behind the bushes, but there's a group of sable antelope. They have those reddish-brown colored coats and those long horns that curve backwards. Those sable are really territorial, so those horns help deter predators from jumping onto their backs. On the left and right, we have these gray-colored animals. They're all resting at the moment. Those are called wildebeest. Wildebeest are a migratory animal, so they spend most of their time traveling across the Savannah. They'll cover up to thousands of miles in their lifetime across this ecosystem. Now that does mean they have kind of a tough start to life. When a wildebeest is first born, it has to be able to fully stand and run in only about 15 minutes to keep up with the rest of that herd. These animals on the right that kind of look like cows, with those impressive looking horns, are called Ankole cattle. The Ankole cattle is one of just 2 domesticated species of animal that live out here on the reserve. They're actually related to the buffalo and to the bison. Those big horns on top of the Ankole cattle's head are quite hollow. They can actually regulate their blood flow. They can put that blood up into those horns. It helps to cool down their body temperature. I got a few more wildebeest here on the right-hand side. Now, when they do migrate, they gather in the second most densely populated herds in the world. The first most densely populated mammal is actually us humans. And those grazing animals like the wildebeest, those antelope, they're going to help to shape what this ecosystem looks like as they naturally graze on that grass to keep it a nice short length. And then those tall giraffe are going to prune the underside of the trees to shape the canopy of the tree line. We're continuing to a really exciting area next. We're making our way onward to elephant territory. Now, the elephant is the largest animal that lives out here on the reserve. A male African elephant can weigh up to 13,000 pounds. That is extra impressive considering that they are herbivores. So that means an elephant's diet consists entirely of plant matter. So to maintain their large size, an elephant does eat about 300 pounds of that plant matter every day. We are going to get a really nice view of that elephant in just a little bit here. Over on the left, you might see a mandrill monkey or two. The mandrills are best known for their bright blue and bright red markings on their faces and behinds. They are one of the largest monkey species in the world. A male mandrill can weigh up to 100 pounds. We'll pull ahead to this really nice elephant view. And we can see this elephant is by itself, so that's a pretty good clue that this might be a male elephant. Male elephants tend to be more solitary in nature, so typically we find them by themselves, whereas those female elephants are a lot more social, so they are the species that we're going to find together in larger groups. You might have noticed that elephant flapping its ears back and forth. That is a great way for an elephant to cool itself down. That could cool them off by as much as 15 degrees. Elephants in the wild have unfortunately lost a vast amount of their natural habitat, and that is due to coltan mining. Those bad mining practices really harm and in some cases destroy their home altogether. That coltan is a mineral that might not sound super familiar to you, but it's something that we come in contact with every single day. Coltan is required to make cell phones and other small electronics. So if you do have a cell phone, you have access to that coltan, which is great news because it means we do have the ability to help those elephants by recycling them. That is going to put more coltan back into circulation for reuse, repurposing, and that helps to cut back on those bad mining practices. We have some more elephants on the left-hand side that we're about to pass here. Now, one thing that stands out about the elephant is that trunk. It's a really useful tool for the elephant. They can lift about 100 pounds of their trunks and store about 5 gallons of water inside of their trunk. An elephant has more muscles in their trunk alone than we have in our entire human body. So it is a very adept muscle for them. We're also passing these really large, unusual looking trees on the left and right hand side. Those are called baobab trees. Baobab trees are nicknamed the tree of life. They have the ability to store thousands of gallons of that life-giving water inside of the base of the tree trunk. Now coming up on the left-hand side, right in the center of the island here, we have our greater flamingo. Now the greater flamingo is the largest of the flamingo species. They're also going to be the lightest color of pink. They are pink in color because of what they eat, which is a lot of brine shrimp, which also has that pink color to it. And that's because of beta-carotene. Now beta-carotene transitions from the brine shrimp to the flamingo and turns them that bright pink color. Now, because of that bright pink coloration, a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance of flamingos. This is our eastern savanna. It's going to be home to our white rhino family. They're hanging out over here on the left-hand side of the truck. White rhino are the most social rhino species, so it's pretty common to find them in family groups. They are named after their wide square lip shape. They were named after the Afrikaans word bite, B-I-T-E, which actually translates to wide, W-I-D-E. A rhino's horns is going to be made out of keratin, the same exact stuff that's in our fingernails and our hair. Very similar to the way that we might file down our fingernails on a fingernail file, rhinos will commonly file down their horns on trunks and tree trunks and rocks. They look like a dinosaur. Coming up on the left-hand side, we're going to be keeping an eye out for some cheetah. Actually, there's a really lovely view of one. She's right in the middle there on the left-hand side. There's a couple of them up there, in fact. The cheetah is the fastest of all the land animals in the world. They can accelerate from 0 to 60 in just about 3 seconds.
Oh, look at now.
Now, cheetahs are going to have non-retractable claws, so that means the cheetah claw is always outside of its paws. That does give them really excellent traction on the savanna grass. That is where they do most of their hunting. They're pretty different from other large predator cats for a couple of reasons. The first is that they are able to purr, one of the few bigger cats that have that ability. They are not able to roar, though. The second reason is that they are a diurnal animal. So unlike most large cats, which are going to be nocturnal, meaning that they sleep during the day, cheetahs tend to be most active during the day, and they will rest at nighttime when that sun goes down. We're going to be keeping an eye out for another big predator cat, which is nocturnal. That's the lion. Now, because of that nocturnal nature, we may or may not actually see a lion out here this afternoon because they tend to be asleep about this time. But occasionally we still have really good luck. Sometimes they do like to sleep right on top of these rocks here. This rock structure is called kopje. Lions really like to reside in kopjes. Ah, yes, there is a female lioness. If you look right in the middle of those rocks, you're going to see her head peeking out there. This kopje rock gives them a really great vantage point for prey below them. Now that is a female lion. She does not have that big fluffy mane around her face. A couple more white rhino there on the right hand side as well. Lots of animals to see all around us. Looks like there might be another lion over on this side of the kopje as well. So female lions like these two are responsible for the hunting in the wild. Male lions are going to act as the protectors. They stay back with the cubs. And there is a male lion on this side as well. He does have that big fluffy mane right around his face there. Lions have really powerful roars. A lion's roar can be heard from as far as 5 miles away. We'll have one last really adorable white rhino view coming up on the right. We have one of our younger white rhinos here. Rhinos have pretty poor eyesight, but they do have really exceptional hearing abilities. So you can see that their ears kind of pivot independently of each other, so they will keep track of their surroundings by what they hear rather than what they see. We're really excited to have that younger white rhino here with us. It means that we are helping to regrow and repopulate their species, which is wonderful. They are an endangered species. Again, they are a common target of poachers because of those horns that they have. We're crossing over now to our last and final stop, the Magadi Glen. It's going to be home to one of our smallest animal residents. It's called the Nigerian dwarf goat. They're a domesticated dairy goat. They have a really sweet tasting milk. Because of that sweet flavor, a lot of times a Nigerian dwarf goat's milk is used for goat cheese production. Now they have a great hidden talent, which they are displaying for us today, not so hidden today. It's that they're great climbers. A Nigerian dwarf goat has a great sense of balance, which gives them that excellent climbing ability. These animals are really playful, they're really social with one another, and it's quite common to find the younger goats headbutting or chasing each other. Those behaviors are going to help them to establish the dominant order in their groups, and it also helps them to mature physically as they grow up from baby goats into those adult goats. We're going to make our way out of the reserve now. We're headed to the unloading area so that you can go about the rest of your afternoon, go on some more adventures, go find some more animals out here today. But thank you so much for your time and your attention out here on the reserve. I really hope that you had fun here today. I hope that you learned a new animal fact or two. The more that we learn about these animals, the more likely we are to start forming those more personal connections with them. And a lot of times those personal connections inspire us to start taking some conservation action. So whatever that might look like for you, maybe it's recycling, you can recycle glass or cardboard or aluminum cans around your home. Maybe it is bringing reusable bags to the grocery store to cut down on your use of plastic. Those seemingly small actions, when we multiply them across millions of people, it really adds up to make a huge positive difference for those animals and for our environment. A great spot to see more animals today is the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. You're going to exit and be very close to the entrance of that walking trail. You can take your time over there and see as many animals as you like. Take as many pictures as you like. I'm going to leave you with Kwaheri, which means to go well. I do hope you go very well indeed, my friends. Once again, my name has been Allie. It was a pleasure driving you around the reserve today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. You were a great group, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon out here at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Please
Friends
like
on
and
the right, watch your
subscribe.
hands, arms, feet, legs.